These strange humanoid figures were much bigger than human beings.
We can believe what we've read in the reports. These are extraterrestrial beings, something otherworldly.
From endless oceans to calm coastlines, there's so much hiding below the surface. Mysterious creatures, strange sightings, and otherwise bizarre discoveries. We've barely skimmed the surface, but today we're finally going beyond. You know you're in Russia when you see things like this. The nation's popular for hosting the unexpected. This peculiar creature was sighted in the Volga River. It could easily be mistaken for a warrior from Aquaman. It had the torso of a human, a wing for an arm, and a huge body that could rival dinosaurs. It dove out of the water as if to breathe and then plunged back in, dragging its long scaly tail behind it. Well, either that's some sort of creepy creature, or it's something supernatural. Monster Craw. Earlier this spring, a visitor at a Louisiana park was out to enjoy the nice weather. He decided to start filming the pond, just for fun. Suddenly, a monstrous being appeared in the water. With deep red eyes, this wasn't your ordinary crawfish. It looked mutated. It was longer and bulkier than ordinary crawfish. The visitor lost all his appetite for the weather after this, and from then on, the park was the last place on his mind for visits. And who can blame him? If someone's actively meddling with nature, that's your sign to stay away. Horror fishing. I'm convinced human stupidity will be the end of us. This young man was baiting fish using a live lizard in a murky river in Texas. And if you're familiar with the state, you'll know where we're going with this. That's right, it was sudden and swift. An unknown creature just made a jab at the lizard and took it away. Now let's be real here. This is probably a gator. Or since it's Texas, it really could be a mysterious creature. But the real issue here isn't the mysterious creature, but the kid still sitting there as if he wasn't just seconds away from becoming lunch. Nessie sighting. To those folks who thought the Loch Ness Monster is a myth, well, here you go. This Nessie was found in a swamp in Florida. And before you call this out, only the Loch Ness Monster can have a head like a snake attached to a body like a buffalo. But make no mistake, this was just a baby Loch Ness. You can't even imagine how huge this thing will grow afterwards. Captured just in previous January, the monster is probably rivaling dinosaurs, but to think it's choosing to stay somewhere hidden until it finally emerges, boy, I'm not looking forward to that at all. Water Sauron. Oh my god, what was that? A woman exploring a waterfall in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil had the shock of her life when she saw something move in the falling water. A dark human-shaped body had just appeared out of nowhere in the waterfall. Before you say it was a man trying to prank the woman, could a man even stand on that slippery slope? And have you ever seen a human being collapsing like that into nothingness again? It surely was an elemental being. Gave out Sauron vibes, truth be told. And if Sauron from Lord of the Rings is in our world, we better hope it doesn't confront us. No wonder the shocked woman was screaming in fear. Reptilian proof.
I don't know what this is.
Do you ever just wonder if all cryptid creatures you ever saw on the internet were a lie or CGI? Well, this one's too believable to be either. A woman in Texas found this carcass floating in the water. It had no eyes. Only its head was visible above the water. It did not resemble any creature in the world. It looked like a reptilian creature or an alien. If only there were more people on the scene and they had somehow captured the carcass, the mystery of this creature would have been solved on the spot.
I don't know what this is.
Elemental beings. Mystery everywhere. And here comes one you can't unsee. These mysterious figures were captured coming out of a lake in Ontario and hovering above it while crossing it. It is difficult to identify these beings. Normally, ghosts are wispy and transparent and no one knows what they are made of. But it seems like these particular beings were made from water vapors. Were these some kind of elemental forces taking that shape using water vapors? Or were they ghosts who had come for a dip? Even Einstein would lose his remaining hair figuring out these creatures. Cow python. This scene looks like it is from a sci-fi horror movie, but you wish it was. A python was seen floating in the Ganges River in India, and guess what? It had horns and ears like a deer, and a face like a cow. Swimming peacefully in the river, it surely did not realize the screams of the people around it were from fear. It clearly seemed mutated. Was it experimented upon by a crazy scientist out there? Or was it some sort of mythical creature finally resurfacing to the area? Well, if any of these theories are true, we better get ready to see more and more of these creatures. Murky monster. A Florida fisherman did not expect to catch this monster when he threw out his line and hook. The murky waters hid it completely, but it was clearly enormous. It even managed to pull the fisherman towards, who had to tie the line with the boat to stay afloat. Suddenly, its face appeared for a moment, and it was clearly a reptilian, a horrifying gator. Well, that's what you get for openly going out fishing in lakes known for their gator population. This fisherman better be glad he survived. Hell's tail. Can someone please explain this? A visitor captured this video on a dock near Vanderbilt Beach, Florida. What is this tail? It was spiky, enormous, and will give you the chills. It is impossible to tell what kind of a monster was lurking beneath the water. Was it a dragon that had come to cool itself off after breathing fire somewhere? Or was it a lost dinosaur that just decided to be reborn again? It is kind of amazing that the person making the video did not run away screaming his head off. Surprise chomp. Please don't try what this man is doing at home. He's being real aggressive too, as if asking for trouble. Now, what could even come out of this small body of water, you might ask? A small fish maybe? Or a crab? No! Out of this tiny hole appeared a fully grown crocodile, and it came out roaring at the man tapping the water, who turned out to be the zookeeper who had come to feed the croc. Having said that, do not tap on unidentified bodies of water. You never know what can appear out of them, and no one will even know where you went if you get eaten by a crocodile. Sri Lankan Mermaid. 3 years ago, a few fishermen in Sri Lanka caught a being in their net they were not hoping to catch. It was a mermaid. Unfortunately, it wasn't as pretty as the book said. It had sharp teeth, clearly meant to bite flesh. It was squirming on the ground, helplessly unable to get hold of its hunters. The fishermen were clueless too. They could not approach this monster anymore because of fear, but it was clearly in distress. The video cuts off, but it's believed the fishermen were able to return the mermaid to the ocean. Pink terror. You know it's time to hide when the color pink isn't just pretty flowers, but something unusually creepy. Discovered late at night in a faraway corner of the North Sea by sailors, this creepy creature was probably up for hunting some birds. But boy, did it give the sailors the jeepers. Ominous pink in color with a weird body and no visible fins or tentacles, this was not your ordinary marine animal. Was it a mermaid or a siren? People are still wondering about its reality, but one thing's for certain, it's definitely out of this world. False alert. These fishermen found a mysterious animal after a flood in Indonesia. Its sharp claws were visible and it was stuck in something. The fishermen tried to pull, heave, and tie it to a rope to release it, but to no avail. However, in the end, it did come out after much struggle. The surrounding people screamed at first, freaked out at what had just come out of the water, but in the end, they realized that it was just a tortoise. But hey, it could have been something worse even.
Oh God, why'd you drop them?
Pythonster. Be careful, you might end up in shock after watching this. It is a python from hell, with a ginormous width and a sick green color as if it just fell out of a radiation chamber. This monster seemed hungry and just decided to get out of the river at that spot. Wherever it was headed was destined to become a sorrowful place. Somebody called the National Guard because the police won't be enough to contain this monstrosity. And don't even try convincing me this is a regular python, it just screams mad scientist experiment. Freaky Snout. A bizarre being was sighted in the sea off the coast of British Columbia just recently. It had only brought its snout out to breathe, so most couldn't recognize it. Some did think it was a sea lion, but its appearance suggested otherwise. It clearly wasn't from this planet. What was this thing, they wondered? Was it another interdimensional being or an alien that liked the waters of the earth? Or was it a secret creature from the depths of the ocean that we have yet to discover? I wouldn't stick around to find out. Pond monster. Where there is water, there are some spooky creatures in its folds. Just a month ago, a few Indonesian fishermen found one such creature in a murky pond. It was dark, hairy, and had ominous yellow eyes like a reptile that were too big for comfort. It suddenly appeared in the pond, attracting the attention of the fishermen. They even tried to capture it with a net, but the creature escaped and continued swimming in the pond at its slow pace. Makes one wonder what else is hiding in the ponds. Eerie swimmer. It's never a great thing when something under the surface begins thrashing, but when it sports a body like that, you know you're in trouble. Even the boaters who came across this being looked confused and scared. Who wouldn't be? Since the video has been making rounds on the internet, people are theorizing about the creature's identity. Some say it's just a croc exhibiting its signature rolling move. Now, while others believe this might just be a mysterious creature that panicked at the idea of being captured, thus reacting aggressively. Before we move any further, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you can keep watching our amazing content. Mythical terror. Mermaids. They don't exist, or do they? When you take a look at what one man caught lurking in a nearby lake, you'll begin to rethink everything. Because call me crazy, but doesn't this look like a mermaid clearly trying to enjoy a casual swim? What if these creatures were never a myth, but simply too intelligent to reveal themselves? Even this one looks like it wasn't expecting to be recorded. And considering how it simply sauntered off into the waves, it makes me wonder if lakes and water bodies all around us are filled with such creatures. Ontario Serpent. Wiagamau Lake in Ontario was supposed to be a peaceful lake, but not after a tourist sighted a strange creature in it. The beast in question was probably trying to get some sun and wasn't counting on being sighted. It was slithery and had a body like a serpent, and given the unknown danger in front, the tourist decided to cancel his plans for a swim. Was it possibly another sighting of the Loch Ness Monster? Or is the Canadian lake harboring a new kind of mysterious creature? Underwater bats. Bats in the water, creepy, slow, freaky. A whole group of underwater bats was spotted near a dock in France. They were circling just below the surface. But the weirdest part? They looked like they had no heads, just long stretched necks. Did they even have eyes? What if these were some kind of advanced bats using other senses to get around underwater? Makes you wonder, could every land creature have a strange ocean version? Something's fishy. As soon as you begin believing you have seen it all, the sea throws out another of its mysterious creatures. Sighted on the Florida coast, what you see here isn't an ordinary fish. It was a fish with a horn on its head. From afar, you could mistake it for a headless bird, but it wasn't. When the water turned it upside down, you could even see two ominous-looking strands coming out of its body. What is this peculiar fish, and is its horn poisonous? It is better to not find out. Cambodian dragon. Discoveries like these really makes you wonder if myth is really myth. A beach enthusiast in Cambodia found what appeared to be a tiny dragon. You might have seen pictures of these in Chinese mythology, but here it was in Cambodia. It is small compared to the descriptions, but it is a textbook dragon based on its appearance. Unfortunately, only its carcass was discovered, and we will not know for now if it was capable of flying too. The enthusiast even went on to prove the dragon was a real thing, and that it wasn't a toy meant to prank the viewers. Looks like all dragon enthusiasts have been looking in the wrong places. Bad experiment.
What in the world is this thing? He's got legs.
Did a science lab lose another experimental creature? A group of friends found the carcass of a strange fish washed ashore on the Mississippi River. It had the body of a fish as far as the tail was concerned, but it had small legs instead of fins. Its head resembled that of a bat. What in the world was that? It seemed frozen due to the cold and looked like it had been there for days by then. This scientists going mad theory is becoming truer and truer by the day. Somebody stop them before they create an uncontrollable monster.
What in the world is this thing? He's got legs.
Sarawak bat. Is it a dog? Is it a cat? Number, it is neither. Citizens of Sarawak, Malaysia found this weird creature in the jungle 9 years ago. It was crawling on the jungle floor trying to find its way with the help of its limbs. Its limbs were too short for a dog, and its ears rejected the idea of it being a cat. It was clearly an oversized bat. It kept moving around till it reached the water on the scene. How can such a creature even exist? Or maybe these weird creatures are just being discovered as human beings are entering deeper into jungles. Shore terror. Now, who could have seen this coming? A couple of Indonesian citizens discovered an unknown creature on their beach. It was a colossal monster with an eerie colored skin, as if it had never seen sunlight. So for its carcass to find itself on the shore was pretty unusual too. If this mysterious sea creature had never even swam up to the surface, what would prompt it to pass away on the shore? Was it pushed here by the currents? Or something far, far scarier lurks under the waves? It's a mystery we don't want solved. Giant tadpole. A mysterious creature was caught swimming in the Singapore River quite recently. Just one look at it will give you the chills. It was just freaky. It had the overall look of a fish, but most fish don't swim on the surface like this. It had a long and flexible tail, and you don't see fish having such a tail either. If anything, it was an overgrown tadpole, but tadpoles never grow to such sizes and turn into frogs well before that. What was it? What if Singaporean scientists are experimenting on creatures in the water too, and one that reeks of horror? Don't jump.
I hear him. Where's he at?
Remember when they said mermaids lure sailors with their songs? They were not wrong. A year ago, a US sailor caught on tape what could be indisputable proof that mermaids do exist. At first, the sailor saw two mermaids swimming along both sides of the boat and was quite freaked out. But wait till you hear the mermaid singing out to the sailor. It was freaky and could turn any guy crazy. It is no wonder sailors in the past jumped off the boats trying to reach the source of the voice. Of course they never returned. Thank God the sailor just decided to record the moment instead of doing anything crazy.
I hear him. Where's he at?
Alien egg. Oh my word, it looks like aliens are laying eggs now and have started to multiply. At least that is what one thinks looking at this blob of Whatever. They are formed in the shape of a brain, but look like they are a collection of eggs. But upon investigation, it was revealed these are called zooids. These creatures are hermaphrodites and older than dinosaurs. They procreate asexually and live in such brain-like colonies. Whew, that was close. Imagine if these were really alien eggs, it would have been time to find a new planet for ourselves. Flying fish. Two tourists in Malibu Canyon witnessed something spectacular. They found what they initially thought was a flying fish, but when they looked closer, they realized it was something truly unimaginable, an unusual object, not only hovering, but shape-shifting as well. The tourists just did not know what to make of it. Coincidentally, the duo knew about the latest tech and were sure this wasn't some special drone, especially since there didn't seem to be any other human nearby who could be operating. As weird and strange as it sounded, they were now convinced this was some sort of UFO. Whatever the case may be, Malibu Canyon is definitely going to get a higher number of tourists now. Storm monster. A mysterious monster was sighted in Lake Michigan in a summer storm of 2019. Dubbed as the Loch Ness Monster of Lake Michigan, the creature was dragged by the storm and got stuck in the piers. Its long serpentine body became visible for a while, followed by its tail. The crests on its body are similar to a crocodile, but there are no crocodiles in that lake. The identity of this creature is unknown. The locals still speculate about the identity of that mysterious creature over drinks. Tailed alien. 2024 has been the year of mysterious sightings, and Thailand had its fair share of them. A few villagers there witnessed a strange sight on the riverbank. It was tiny and had a long tail like a lizard. It was definitely an alien carcass. But how did it end up there? Is this an underwater alien species that we're only seeing now? Or was this an unfortunate alien that did not know how to swim and landed into the water by accident? The mystery around these new species just keeps on increasing. Frantic UFO. Put your seats back up in an upright position, cause this is gonna be bombastic. A UFO was caught searching over a river in China. Please don't say it is a drone, because human beings have yet to invent a drone that can fly without rotors and fans. This UFO was small, but its very movements meant business. With an unnaturally black color, the UFO itself looks scary. Who knows what creepy monster would be sitting inside? It was searching frantically over the river for something. If it was looking for a lost alien child, then let us hope they do not put it on humans. English Nessie. For a long time, we've believed the Loch Ness Monster only lived in Scotland, but not anymore. A beachgoer captured a serpentine creature swimming in the sea off the coast of England. Yes, speculators said that it was an eel or a reef or some plastic moving in the tide, but there was no tide in the sea at that time. The creature was turning at one spot in the water, gradually showing both thinner and fatter portions of its neck, which look exactly like the Loch Ness monsters. We gotta keep our eyes peeled for future sightings. Noodle monsters.
Wrong one. He just disintegrates.
Creepy, eerie, and unexplainable. A man on an Australian dock discovered something unique and fantastical. They looked like noodle-like worms swimming in the sea. They seemed to be moving in a geometrical zigzag fashion. But the amazing part was that as soon as the man touched them with a stick, they turned into powder. And it wasn't a one-off incident either. The man tried it again and again on multiple worms, and the result was the same. The worms were turning into powder at the slightest touch. Someone please explain what they were? Were these noodles that had become alive somehow through a science experiment? Leaves you wondering about the truth.
Wrong one. He just disintegrates.
Dark scare. No one could have imagined this, let alone stage it. A few boatmen were out in the sea off the coast of Florida when they found a creepy creature swimming by the side of their boat. It had the head of a human. And if you guessed it to be a mermaid, then hold on a second. Where is its body? It had none. There was just a long, black, thin tail fin that made the most of its torso. There was no stomach or side fins. It was basically a long tail fin with a head attached to the front end. It's pretty terrifying to think there are creatures like this that we can't even identify. Fish bulls. It is not just Spanish bulls who get angry at the color red. This particular fisherman made an amazing discovery. He took a secret chemical and mixed it in a solution. Then when he threw this red solution into the water, it was suddenly swarmed by an enormous number of fish. They were suddenly very angry and frantically trying to get a bite. Interestingly, the red color disappeared in an instant, but the fish kept fighting as if in a frenzy. Better not be wearing red clothes next time you go swimming. River King. 7 years ago, the Penobscot River in Maine witnessed a spine-chilling event. The Loch Ness Monster was sighted floating in the river with its head held high. It was silent, still, and moving like a king, informing every animal and human in the surroundings that it had arrived and that the river was now its kingdom. Appearing only for a short few minutes, the monster soon disappeared behind the waves. But its work was done. The area is now riddled with sightings, with locals quickly running off at the slightest hint of the Loch Ness's return. Sea Lade. Guys, believe it or not, but the Hawksberry River, Australia is sheltering mermaids. A family visiting the river last year found a strange creature floating in the water. It had the head of a human woman, but the body of a seal. The family was perplexed. The river authorities even more, because most sea creatures didn't come up to the surface, and the one that did come up was something they'd never seen before. The creature seemed to have sensed its popularity because it soon dipped away, leaving its identity a big mystery. Humped. There is something in the water, and it is not at all your regular sea creature. This mysterious monster was filmed in Norway, and it did not have just one hump. Serpentine in shape, it had at least 5. It was swimming just under the water surface and had no clue it had been sighted. Was it just a huge snake, or did the humps belong to a more sinister creature hiding under the water? Visitors were baffled and experts were at a loss trying to explain what this particular creature was. Golden Creep. A strange object was sighted off the coast of Chile in March of this year. It was huge and just under the surface and had a shining golden color, giving out light as if it was electric. It wasn't moving as it should have been with the waves. It did not even look like a manta ray, which is what most people thought it was, nor did it look like a liquid spilled by human beings. It was like an out-of-this-world creature, which was majestic but scary too. It was just mysterious and unexplainable. Mermaid Carcass. Scary, spooky, and unbelievable. Disturbed by a strong foul smell, these fishermen in the Philippines decided to track down its source. What they discovered made them wish they hadn't. It was the freakiest creature you will ever see. It was a good 5 feet long, had the body of a fish with unnatural fins at the back, but it had a humanoid head. It was completely black, and by the looks of it, the carcass had been lying there for quite some time now. What even was this creature when alive? Was it another creature from the fabled kingdom of Atlantis? Was it the result of a science experiment gone bad? Or was it aliens experimenting on earthly creatures? Too many questions and very few answers to go with. Danube monsters. The Danube River is a hot spot for catching fish, which is why it's often crowded with fishermen. But little do they know, the Danube holds creatures no one wants to encounter. At the beginning of this month, they found a serpentine being whipping its tail in the water. The body of the creature was visible for just a couple of moments before it disappeared. Now, while it'd usually be pretty easy to identify sea creatures, solely because of its appearance and characteristics, marine biologists are still scratching their heads about the identity of this mysterious being. It's time for today's open discussion. Somewhere in Ireland, in a lake by the Wicklow Mountains, a creepy figure is rumored to haunt. A woman, bony and frail, clad entirely in wood, rises from the lake, picking out a snake. Her appearance alone is terrifying, and would make anyone in their right mind freak out. Although the woman is believed to be a sculpture, there have been rumors of a fate involving dark magic. It is believed this was a real woman, cursed by a witch and permanently petrified to stone. Who knows if the story is true, but it's certainly something that keeps you up at night. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.